Let's do it.
Hey, and away we go. How about that? Come on.
Wow.
Tyrese Maxey leads the way, 26 points. Your team, your town, your 76ers go down to Charlotte, trailed by as many as 15, I believe, Sean, correct?
I believe so. I'll fact check you real quick.
118, 114 final score. What a performance by the boys. It got a little nerve-wracking in the third quarter. Business as usual. This team struggles. We know their flaws, but a lot more character out there, a lot more belief out there, of course, with Joel Embiid and Paul George and the way that they were able to have the games that they did. Oh, by the way, they're back. That's right. Hello, everybody. Sixers wrap-up show right here. Sean Bernard does all things over at DK Network and Crossing Broad. I'm Sean Brace. Everything is powered by 97.5. The Fanatic. Embiid, 29 points. Paul George, 26 points. Both of them played 36 minutes total each. Maxey, 26 points, 43 minutes, Sean Bernard. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to hand it off to you right now, but that is a tough Charlotte Hornets team. They fill it up. They're carefree, but you live by the three, you die by the three.
Yeah, you're right about that, and we will get into the X's and O's. The offensive rebounding, a clear problem in this one, that was not nearly good enough from the Sixers' perspective. But what I care about is a win, Sean Brace. That was a character win. That was the big three. Seeing Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George needing to scrap to a victory together, to learn how to play in that high-intensity environment together. This is a huge moment for the Sixers team. This is a turning point type of win that they needed this. A grown-up victory by the Sixers team, and each one of them delivered. I mean, the block by Joel Embiid at the end, the three from Paul George, the dunk from Tyrese Maxey. There were a ton of moments in this game that you point to of like, that was a signature moment of the entire matchup. They got up for this game, and I needed to see that from the Sixers team.
Yeah, look, we all got up for this game. 6 p.m. start, little tough for us here in Philly because of the Phillies game carrying over. But bottom line is, if you were a Sixer backer, you were locked in. This is the game. And I won't lie, it went through my mind in the third quarter. What if they do lose this game? What are we talking about? Like, I still was saying, hey, man, it's like plenty of basketball to play with 8 games after this. Good opponents, winnable games. But again, just seeing this team together, you got the blueprint. And that's what I continue to come back to. Again, putting everything to the side. What we were saying a month ago, maybe not Sean Bernard. I hopped off the train. Everything aside. Here it is. This was the vision, right? Paul George gets suspended for 25 games. We knew exactly when he was coming back. Joel Embiid goes down. There was some, jokes being said that, hey, man, wouldn't it be funny? Another extra week off, and he comes back against the Chicago Bulls win. Paul George returns. It's how it played out. Maxey returned a little quicker than I thought, but what a performance across the board by everybody there. And again, just a monster victory going up against the Hornets, a team that they had to have this over because obviously with the playoff implications, they tied. They now have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, 100% there. And from the standpoint of the Hornets were 1 game back, that like beyond just the tiebreaker, just purely from a standings perspective, that if they had lost this game, basically landlocked so that they were going to be a play-in team. A top 6 seed is absolutely on the table. The number 5 seed is potentially on the table. If we're talking about a first round matchup with like the Cavaliers or the Raptors or something like that, we can start talking a little crazy, Sean Brace. But let's stay locked in on this specific matchup for now. And by the way, like, I think the root of a lot of my frustration with the Sixers' pessimism is I still think if we're grading anything about this era, this big three, it's an incomplete. It has to be an incomplete. We don't have a sample size of what they actually look like. I need to see big moments of these three playing together. I need to be able to determine, could this theoretically work with these guys on the floor together? Because we haven't had the answer to that. And you can point to the lack of availability or this even being possible being a failure in itself, which I get. But I need to see them in matchups like tonight, where this is a high-intensity type game, where every basket matters. You feel the weight of it. They got up for the moment tonight. That is a good Hornets team, man. Don't get it twisted. That is one of the top-scoring teams in the league. They've been one of the best straight up. The net ratings up there with the Thunder and the Spurs since the new year started right there. I'm proud of this Sixers team tonight. This is their biggest one of the season by far.
Yeah, no doubt. It's this time of year. It's where you got to go, and we know the expectations that we're coming into the season. They've been through a lot, and they're still, 41 and 33, 40 and 33 at this point in time, I believe is their record. So they've been through a ton, dealt with a lot of injuries, and here we are with 8 games left to go. They're in a really good spot. Again, healthy for the most part with Paul George. Joel Embiid said he feels really good as far as the knee is concerned. Of course, the oblique is a little extra that he's dealing with, but bottom line, he looked good this evening, and he looked great against the Chicago Bulls. And you could see that these guys are still working the kinks out, including
Yeah,
Paul George. But Paul George, just like in the game against Chicago, he finishes with 26. A little bit smoother of a game for him. 9 of 19, 4 of 11 from downtown, 13 boards, 2 assists, doing a little of everything, 4 steals, Sean Bernard. But again, just you could tell,
yeah,
again, not going to get too crazy here. I feel like Paul George definitely has room to get better and will
for
get
sure.
better as time goes on.
And the 13 rebounds, like, I want to shout that out. That is a big deal right there. And particularly, we do have to have the conversation about, like, just getting murdered on the offensive glass tonight. The Hornets finished this matchup with 20 offensive rebounds. That is an absurd total that can't happen on a game-by-game basis. But I will also note, I checked this total midway through the third quarter. We were at 20 offensive rebounds at the time. So not allowing one for that final quarter and a half of what that was right there, that's a big deal from the Sixers team. And if Paul George is going to function correctly in the way that this team is built, you're going to have to make up some of that rebounding slack. He did that tonight. He delivered. And Joel, we can see, the lack of verticality. A team like the Hornets that is so built on athleticism and pace that they're going to be able to expose that. We saw that for a stretch tonight, but ultimately they were able to overcome it. And the thing that I'll be complimentary about towards Paul George, I think this is oftentimes like thrown at him as an insult, that you think about, a max contract guy. You want that to be your guy. That's the source of offense. I think Paul George does a really nice job of just picking his spots, finding his place, that I never feel like he's disruptive to the flow of offense. He attacks at the right times. That and one in transition, I think it was Kalkbrenner that fouled him, was a huge moment. The three-pointers, the coming off the pin downs, those are things that he has to do for the Sixers team. And defensively, I think it's a night and day difference when he's out there versus when he's not. That's a credit to Paul George for getting the Nick Nurse system, to being as switchable and versatile as he is right there. I thought this was a pretty damn good Paul George performance, and I agree with you. I think he can build off it. I think he can get better from here.
Sean Bernard, Sean Brace, everything powered by 97.5 The Fanatic. If you're watching, hit us up, of course, on all things socials. Retweet us, show some love there. Get involved in the comments section. We'll keep those open. Of course, we want to hear your thoughts. As Sam Ostry normally joins us from The Score, and Sam texted the group. I think he might join us in a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah.
But he texted the group. I know some dangerous things are going to be said tonight. There it is. I need some dangerous things to be said from some people. Fink checking in. Of course, everybody loves Fink, the best up there. Philly Fink. Brace, been telling you since the Rockets game, don't let them Sixers get hot, and everything trending in the right direction. Are the Sixers hot, Sean Bernard?
They absolutely are, Sean Brace. That just to give like the standings glimpse here, because this was kind of the biggest storyline of this. So they now climb to 41 and 33. They're tied with the Atlanta Hawks, who are the 6th seed. The Hawks do own the tiebreaker there, so they're not going to be able to overcome that. But the team that I really have my eye on is the Toronto Raptors, who are a half game above them. The Raptors kind of fading down the stretch, and frankly, I think they've been a team that has overachieved all year. That's a team I see dropping into the play-in, and one of the teams out of the Sixers, Magic, Heat, or Hornets is going to leapfrog up top of that. Tonight was massive to make sure the Sixers are in play for that. So they are now a half game out of climbing into a full-scale playoff seed right there. This was a big win any way you slice it. I feel thrilled about it.
All right, let's talk about the three-pointers for a second. Now, again, I'm not going to get too crazy here, but against the Chicago Bulls, didn't they set a record? They set a record with the amount of three-pointers. They made 22 three-pointers, tying the 4th most in franchise history and the most ever in a home game. Of course, that's coming off of 157 total in the game. Tonight, Sean Bernard, I get it, man. Those Charlotte Hornets, they like to shoot it from downtown. They went 17 of 55. That's good for 31%. Sixers, 16 of 34, 47% from downtown. Is that our strength? Is that how we're going to ride with the Boston Celtics in the ECF finals? Because I love our chances if we do.
I mean, I think the point that I would make here is not all three-point attempts are created equal. That I think a lot of like the Hornets three-point looks tonight, we're just jacking. We're pulling up from deep. That's LaMelo Ball territory, pulling up. Like the Sixers three looks, and frankly, they do have to do a better job of generating these, of make sure you're creating these, driving and kicking and creating good looks like that. But I do think that they're pretty, I guess, calculated in the way that they go about it. I think in the large part, and there's exceptions for sure, but they do a good job of getting good 3-point looks. They're not just chucking them to chuck it, which is something that I see teams fall into that. Obviously, trading 2 points for 3 points is a losing recipe, and the Sixers were looking down the barrel of that for a significant portion of this game. But I think when you do prioritize, these are good 3-point looks. This is running Paul George off a pin down. This is setting a screen and creating an opportunity for a guy to knock down that perimeter shot. You're going to do better efficiency-wise when that is the case. I do think the Sixers have prioritized that. So I would like a little bit more of their shot diet to come from the perimeter, that I think they should uptick that a little bit. But you can't argue with 47%. That's nice efficiency, and I like the looks that they got tonight.
Martin Roach checking in. MP Roach on Twitter. Sixers are 21-1 versus the Hornets with them beating the lineup.
Did see that.
Yeah, I've been on daddy duty a little bit here, but trust me, the phone never left my hand. And I was juggling. I was like Miss Doubtfire. I was running around with the laptop, got the kid over here, the vacuum underneath. I'm trying to clean, but that's all right. This was a monster game, and you could not look away. And you had that feeling. It was a great first half. They give it up in the third quarter. Oh my goodness, dude! You saw it. I forgot I even placed that live wager.
That's right.
That's hysterical. 9-1.
Can I tell you something too, Brace? Is you sent that. I took a peek myself. Got it at plus 1,500.
Come on. Baby. Yeah, I threw 25. They were down in the third quarter. I threw 25 on 9-1. You got 15-1. Whatever.
Hey, a win's a win. We celebrate wins, Sean Brace.
Yeah, did they go down even more after I placed that wager? I don't know. I know they finished the third quarter strong and they carried that in, and then they had like a 10-0 run into the middle of the fourth quarter. But it's the ebbs and flows of an NBA basketball game, and I just took a peek and I said, you know what, let's ride. You know, I think they're going to win this game, and I'm not going to be scared because they trail by 11 in the third quarter. But you got to hit those shots. And oh, by the way, you got to hope the Charlotte Hornets miss theirs because they get their shots up. I think that could be a dangerous team, but they definitely are missing a certain piece. If those shots aren't falling, like you could hear it in Allah's voice about 5-minute mark. The Hornets took like a 3-point lead, and even Allah was like, relax, plenty of time left in this game because those shots are going to eventually not fall if they continue to fall. That's just how it is. That's the way I was reading it.
Yeah, live by the 3, die by the 3, like you said right there. And again, like I would point a criticism to this Hornets team. There's a lot to like. Like I'm nitpicking here, but I do not think they choose their 3-point attempts that wisely. Like LaMelo in particular has taken a massive leap this year in regards to playing basketball that's more conducive to winning, but he's certainly guilty of that, of, you know, barely getting his feet set and launching at this awkward angle. And he makes a lot of them. He's an incredibly talented basketball player, but there's also, you got to live with the downside of your percentages do decrease when you are shooting off an awkward angle or, you know, not putting a lot of thought into what is the context of this specific look right there. So I think that's something that they should clean up. This Hornets team's good though, man. They're athletic. The thing that I was really worried about more than 3-point shooting is this team just out-athleting the Sixers. And they did for a large part of that game straight up. Like you can't argue. Musa Diabate was awesome, and all the offensive rebounds, he really changed the game with that. But the Sixers met the challenge, man. Like it felt like, and this has been something we've talked about in this entire era of Sixers basketball, of when the Hornets brought that punch, the Sixers responded. Like they had a response to it. They didn't roll over when they were doing things that were working. Charlotte was. So I love that. The just, you know, guts that the Sixers showed tonight. That's something that I care about more than any of the X's and O's. This team was ready for every single punch that was thrown their way and threw back on every single one of them.
Yeah, I thought the Sixers were 41-33. I did think that, and obviously that's the Super Bowl final. I thought I was saying this afternoon that they were 40 wins. So whatever website, I was looking at NBA.com, then an update. So now the Sixers are 41-33. Yeah. And as somebody pointed out on my timeline here, if you know, you know. That's pretty cool stuff. Sixers big 3, win it over the Hornets. Embiid goes for 29. PG 26, 13, and 4 steals. Maxey 26, 7, and 8. They're all playing together. Sean, when Sam joined me earlier today, he said, I believe, only 5 games with the starting lineup of Oubre, Maxey, Paul George, VJ, and of course JoJo. Tonight, Oubre didn't start, so that doesn't qualify. But I believe he said only 5 games we've seen all season long. That's not a lot of minutes, and there's still like something to look forward that these guys are not even close to gelling. Is it too late for that? I don't think so because of the performance we just saw tonight.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, obviously, you would love more of a sample size to carve out the reps and figure out how do we play with each other, how do we maximize each other. But it is not a perfect world that we live in. You got to take the ebbs and flows, deal with the cards they are dealt, and those are the things that work against the Sixers. January 24th was the last time that we saw Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey on the floor together. Look pretty good tonight. So on paper, this makes a ton of sense how this team does work. We have to see it on the court. They have to continue to build off this. Like, there's still things they have to clean up. There were a couple defensively, I thought a bunch of the switches got blown up. There was one play in particular where Maxey and Oubre were both chasing a guy 35 feet from the basket to leave like a wide open layup. So there's things that they can get in the film room and tweak. But you have to get that sample size of film. You have to figure out what exactly is going to work, what isn't, and build off that. And tonight is a great example of something that you can take that lesson and still improve on.
I see my guy Ray Dunn. He just tweeted out, hell of a win. Max players gave this team what it needed down the stretch. Now get one in Miami.
Yeah. And why not?
We'll get to Miami in just a second. Again, just looking at some of the team stats right here, right now. Sixers shot 49% from the field. They were out rebounded 52-41 total, including 20-7 on the offensive boards, 34-32. They got Charlotte there. Assists pretty much even, 19-18 in favor of the Sixers, 7-4 as far as steals are concerned in favor of the Sixers. Total turnovers were 9 apiece. Where are we at with the fouls? I thought yep. 25-22. I thought I saw a lot of fouls being called, and I thought a little bit more towards the 76ers, but still even, it seems, 25-22 there. Largest lead, 15 points by the Charlotte Hornets and 4 by the 76ers. 82% of the game, the Charlotte Hornets led Sean Bernard. So that is a big-time victory by the 76ers with all that expectation and hope and the build-up, and it's been a little while since we've had some build-up and, of course, deliver on that game.
Yeah, 100% there. And I do think the fast break points you mentioned is a big deal there. The Sixers outscoring them 19-8 on the break. That's sort of the Hornets' calling card. Is they want to get out and run. They want to get in transition. They want to out-athlete you and play at an up-tempo pace. The Sixers matched that and beat that from just that category right there. So I thought that was impressive, especially when that's not exactly the way that the Sixers tend to stylistically play, particularly when Joel Embiid is on the floor right there. I did think it was an annoyingly refereed game today. Like, there was a lot of stuff that I thought was like, hated that call, and a lot of weird stuff going on. We're getting back to Joel Embiid being called a free throw merchant online, which all that means to me is that he's back, man, that he's back to cooking, guys. If you don't want Joel Embiid to shoot free throws, then guard the man and don't foul him. And guys can't do that. Nobody in the NBA can do that. So I don't want to hear that. Stay in front of him, don't reach, and he won't teach. But Joel Embiid is going to punish you every single time you put yourself in that position, and he did so tonight.
Bro, Grant Williams. That's your defensive game plan, Grant Williams?
Well, it seems like this isn't just exclusive to the Hornets, and the Hornets are a little bit shorthanded at the big man spot. You got Ryan Kalkbrenner, you got Diabate that you're going to roll through as far as like your main options there. But a lot of teams do this where they prefer to throw a little bit more like stronger frame and smaller guy that can just be physical with Joel, and Grant Williams like fits that category. Any way you cut it, you're not winning the matchup. Like, Joel Embiid is one of one in terms of unguardability, and there isn't anybody that you leave in a one-on-one just matchup on a consistent basis that he's not going to get the better of. So I respected the attempt from Charlotte. I understand like philosophically how they got there, but yeah, you just can't stop Joel Embiid. You can't, and he looked just fine to me again tonight. He played better against the Bulls for sure, but that looks like the Joel Embiid that we did not see all of last year.
Again, yeah, like you said, vintage, where he's driving, he's at the free throw line, he could easily dot you from there. If not, boom, he's going to go under, and he does. Look, he's crafty, and he knows, like, if you're in, if the contact's there, he's not going to hesitate to take a little bit of a stumble if it happens. And I don't care how that shakes out, right? Like, I just want to win, and if that leads to free throws, I don't care if he's somewhat taking a dive. I really don't. Like, SGA, like these guys, LeBron, and like these guys get hit, they're going down. They're going to get the shot up and they're going to get the call. These guys are superstars and they deserve it. So, like the free throw merchant and looking at the number, yeah, he shot the most free throws, but not by much. I think Brandon Miller was right there. Yeah, Brandon Miller shot 8 of 10. Joel shot 10 of 13. So it's right there.
And I know it doesn't show in the stat sheet that he only had 2 assists tonight. I thought Joel read the doubles really well tonight, that he made the right reads whenever they did a pretty clear effort to get him posted up and create those looks. And the Hornets were pretty, I guess, like hesitant to throw those double teams, but down the stretch they did. And I thought Joel punished him properly. He caught Oubre baseline on both of those assists right there. Thought he had a couple nice moments where he kicked out the shooter. So it did not show as far as in the assist category for this being a great Joel Embiid playmaking game, but I thought he made the right decisions in all those situations. And that's been an area that's been a weakness of his throughout his career. Just continues to show he's still elevating, and that's one of those like direct examples where he improves on that when he's not on the floor. That's something you can get in the film room, look at the tape, figure out how defenses are guarding you, where is the right pass, and I do think he's taking those steps and doing those things. So for all the him not being available, and I get it, you're not going to argue, obviously it's better if he's on the floor, but I don't think Joel is just sitting on the sideline and not working.
Let's talk about Oubre. First game back, and he had the monster dunk in the fourth quarter.
Nasty.
Just brings a lot of energy. 9 points, 3 of 5. As far as turnovers are concerned, only had one. Had one steal, couple boards, 5 total. Picked up 3 fouls. Played 28 minutes. I didn't expect much from him coming in, but he sure has an impact, though. There's no doubt about that. And why wouldn't he with 28 minutes played?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the battle for Dominic Barlow versus Kelly Oubre Jr. for this final like 5th starter role, as I think they're pretty locked in for sure with Maxey, Edgecombe, Embiid, and Paul George as the 4 starters. It's going to be that 5th slot. It was not a good Barlow game overall. He played 15 minutes, finished with 3 points and 2 rebounds. The thing that Dominic Barlow has to do if he's going to continue making his case to be a significant part of this team and stick in the starting lineup, you got to rebound, dude. And when you look at the numbers across this season, he's not a great defensive rebounder. His offensive rebounding is great, that he's got incredible instincts, and that's very valuable in particular with this pairing. When you have Joel, who wants to be a mid-range shooter in the large part of things, that he's going to face up, he's going to take the free throw line. So you need a guy that is crashing the glass and giving you a chance to create those additional opportunities. But I do think as we fast forward here and look at this home stretch, that Oubre gives you more, man. He's at least the threat of a shooter. That I know he's not the highest efficiency three-point shooter as you would hope to be the case, but he shot 1 for 3 tonight, and I thought just the presence, the threat of him as a shooter does matter for the way that teams do defend. So I think Oubre is going to end up winning that 5th starter role over Barlow. It's been a great season for Barlow overall. I still think he's in that like diamond in the rough type category, but we are starting to see some of his weaknesses the more he's been put out on the court. And I do think Oubre is absolutely going to earn that by the season's end.
Sixers wrap-up show powered by 97.5 The Fanatic. You got Sean Bernard, Sean Brace with your Sixers rallied down from 15 to beat the Charlotte Hornets on the road. Oh, man, what a win. 118 to 114. I just brought up the fact that Kelly Oubre came back in his first game back, shined a light on Tyrese Maxey again, because this dude had everything going, including 43 total minutes played. 76ers TTP checking in, as always. 43 minutes for Maxey. So much respect for him. It's off the charts. He is a warrior out there. First game back. You know what, Sean? It was a good injury to have. If you're going to get hurt, you want it in the upper half. You don't want it bottom. Sure. You can stay conditioned. So not trying to make a mountain out of molehill, but his first game back, and he had everything rolling. He was unafraid of the moment as usual with Tyrese Maxey. You expect it. But, man, he is so nasty with the quick first step. He had a couple moves inside the lane that had the Charlotte Hornets guessing. He had one move that VJ almost put it back, and if he did, you could see, like, that chemistry is getting there where it's like, okay, I'm going to be here if that ball does not fall for Tyrese. You know, they're going to – this is only year one, people. You better buckle up. Tyrese and VJ, it's going to be a show for a long time. Like Dan Hurley said one year, you better get us now. All right? Yeah. You better get us now. There it is. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Tweet it out.
Let it be known. And I will say, like,
get us now.
With Maxey, as far as like the respect thing, like not to compare him to Paul George and Joel Embiid, but it is like a bit inspiring to me. You watch him pregame in all these games that he's out, he's putting in a full workout with left-handed shots and like running up and down the court, doing dribble things, everything that he can be allowed to do by doctor's standards right there to make sure he could hit the ground running. And I will say, I was a little bit paying attention to, it took him a while to actually take a jump shot. I think it was like midway through the second quarter where he hit his first mid-range, which was a nice little like fadeaway pull-up kind of shot there. He only shot 6 3-pointers tonight, which I do think is on the lower end of what we want and expect from Tyrese Maxey. I'm not sure if there's a little bit of lack of confidence in that shooting hand just for now, but this is game one. He still shot 3 for 6 from 3. Things looked like it was coming off his hand clean to me. So I do think this was a little bit of getting his bearings, finding his confidence in it. But if this is the starting point, it's an awfully good starting point to get.
26, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. My man had it going. He was on fire, and he's just so tough to stop. And he wasn't getting the calls he deserved. I'm not going to be begging, but man, he's a superstar. He needs to start getting a little respect when he gets bumped. If you're kind of loud, you're going to call VJ and all those fouls. On the flip side, Tyrese needs to get a little love. That's all.
He's
All
too
right.
fast. That's my theory there. I think he's too fast. He gets downhill so quick. Like you watch Joel, how deliberate he is with every single step and making sure that he is maximizing the contact, making sure that it is looked at as I am being hacked right now, which he was for a large part of this game to get to that free throw conversation. Before Maxey, he's such a blur when he gets downhill that I think referees either don't feel like he earned it to the same level. But you're right. Like this is a guy that's now an all-star, an all NBA caliber talent. He's now going to hit the 65 games to make sure that he is eligible for the all NBA teams right there. He does deserve a little bit more respect with that whistle, even though when we do have Joel Embiid, I can't be fighting too much about that.
No, you're right about that. All right. Again, get involved in the conversation. Love to hear your thoughts out there. So, Sean, we talked earlier today on the air about defending the three, right?
Yeah.
And the Hornets, they've won 5 in a row, 7 of their last 8, and it's because a lot has to do with the fact that they shoot threes and make them. They were number 1 in the league and made threes per game at 16, 3-point percentage at 38.2. Con Knipple, we know what his deal is. He's incredible from the outside. Again, firing up that box score and then taking a peek at what the Hornets were able to do. Con Knipple goes 3 of 14 from the field, 3 of 10 from downtown. He finishes with 11 points in 36 minutes. And again, the Charlotte Hornets shot well under their average at 31%, 17 of 55. So, did the 76ers defend a 3 to your liking? Did the Hornets miss shots that they normally knock down? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought they did an okay job at it. I wouldn't give them an A+ for it, but I think a lot of these looks, like I would point to shot selection from the Hornets' perspective, is I did think they were jacking. I did think they were way too, like, you got to kick out, they automatically launch, which obviously the most dangerous time to shoot a 3 is off an offensive rebound because of everyone's crashing the glass or everyone's in tight, so you get that look at it. I thought they really prioritized that at a level in which it kind of didn't make sense for stretches of this game right there, is because the Hornets did control this game for a large portion of it, and I think it would have done them better as a team to relax a little bit. Let's soak up the shot clock. Let's make sure that we're not rushing. That's not the way these guys play basketball. They want to run and gun. They want to get shots up. They want to out-athlete you, be this young, up-tempo team. But largely, that's been a major concern of mine for the Sixers team is they do overhelp. They do trap too much, and it leads to a lot of open threes. I didn't think there was a ton of that tonight. So there's always going to be improvement. I don't think it was an A+ once again. But overall, I would give them a passing grade. I think they were solid for defending the three-point line.
All right. Well, let's put a bow on this game. We went over the box score. We gave our thoughts. It's a monster victory and so much to like. Again, with 8 games left in the regular season, there's a lot to play for. And it only matters if you win these games. So to go on the road as a 6.5-point underdog, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, they thought Tyrese Maxey was playing. He got upgraded. The odds makers are smart enough to realize that he was playing 6.5-point underdogs, and they go on the road and win. Money line plus 190, cash it in 76
plus 900, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
Pregame
plus 1,500.
There we go.
Nice.
There we
Nice
go.
word.
Yes, sir.
Wow. All right. Let's go ahead and fast forward. Talk about the Miami Heat game Monday night, 8:30 p.m. That's a national TV game, I would imagine.
Probably. I don't know offhand.
8:30 on against Miami on the road in Miami. It's got to be a national TV game.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm seeing
Peacock
7 o'clock.
NBC,
They did it again. They did it again. NBC Sports showed 8:30. It's just 7 o'clock. Peacock. They got me the last time.
Hey, Brace, I don't care where they're playing, what channel, as long as this is the right results for the Sixers team. Is the way that I look at it right there. I would appreciate a couple national games. Let's give this team a little love and change up the who's on the call a little bit every now and again would be appreciated. But for the Sixers team directly right here, they control their destinies. The biggest takeaway. They took care of business today, and they still do from here. Not only just Miami, but you play the Wizards after that. And by the way, Miami is now 2 games back of them in the standings after the win tonight. So a little bit of cushion there, but that's a game that you got to win if you want to continue propelling yourself. But you're not as much looking over your shoulder as would have been the case. If they had lost this game, that is a must win on Monday. And it still kind of is from a standings perspective, but the Heat aren't directly the threat you're looking at. But even fast forwarding beyond that, the Timberwolves, they stole a win against already this year. And that's a good Timberwolves team, but you get them at home again. And who knows? This team is playing good basketball. Can they build off this? The Pistons, will they have Cade Cunningham back? If they do not, That is a winnable game right there. The Spurs, how much do they have to play for with 4 games left to play? I would not surprise me whatsoever if Victor Wembanyama is a guy that sits out that game, given the context of the standings with things so close to this. Then the Rockets, they look like a broken basketball team. And then you finish up with the Pacers and Bucks. These are all winnable matchups, and I don't think they're going to finish like 7-0. I'm sure they'll drop a couple in here, but this is a great stretch to be able to end on and propel yourself with some momentum into the postseason.
Miami Heat played last night, Friday night, against the Cavaliers, where they got smoked 149-128. Game being played in Cleveland. Currently, the Heat are 39-35. They return to action tomorrow to take on the Pacers on the road in Indiana. But again, the Pacers are a team that's trying to lose on purpose, so that should be a victory for the Heat. They're 9.5-point road favorites. But as I said, the show rolls on. Sixers take the victory from Charlotte down to Miami, and the Miami Heat will have to be on the road until Monday. So that's a nice little breather for the 76ers. Advantage Philly. Let's just put it that way. All right. I look forward to it, man. You and Sam are going to handle duties next week. I'll be back Friday after vacation. I look forward to it. I'll be watching. Hell, I might even figure out some technology where I can dial in via the phone. You never know.
Why not?
All right, because I'm not bringing a microphone with me, but I might join us during the phone. Why not? Throw the earbuds in.
Make it work. We can make it work.
Exactly. Hey, if the reception is good in Sanibel Island, I'll be on.
Love it.
Yeah, man. This was fun. It's fun. This is the reason why we're doing it. We said this. We said, you know what, man? It feels different. They were showing us. They were proving their worth. They had a big-time victory against the Houston Rockets, and we said, it's go time. Let's get to the All-Star break. Let's go time. Went through a little bit of a rough patch there, but the grass is starting to grow again. We're watering it, baby.
Brace was initially the guy leading the bandwagon right here. This team's a contender. This team's all the way in. I'm in on the Sixers team. And then all of a sudden, he's starting to fall off the bandwagon to an extent. Brace, we have pulled you back on the bandwagon. We're still rolling smooth. And this train is not getting off the tracks right now. This team is locked in and ready. This final stretch is going to tell us a lot about the Sixers team. And tonight is an awesome sign for the way that things are trending.
I was believing all along. I reached my breaking point. Frustration hit me, man. It was tough. 76ers TTP checking right. One more. Sixers beating the Heat, going to be tough. They're starting to get healthy for the first time in a while, too.
Yeah, it's not a layup game by any means. And I do think this is like a good prep game for the Heat because they do a lot of similar things as far as push the tempo, launch a lot of three-pointers. The Heat don't scare me as much as this Hornets team, as much as that sounds crazy, maybe on paper like that. But I do think like the Jimmys and the Joes are not quite the same as we're diving into the Jaime Jaquez's and Bam Adebayos and Khalil Wares and Tyler Heroes. They're a good squad. But it's all about the Sixers, man. Every single one of these matchups we want to talk about, this is the conversation with the mirror of how good is this team going to look? Do they play their brand of basketball? Do they meet the challenge that each of these opponents are going to look like? I don't think there's going to be examples of teams beating the Sixers. I think it's going to be the Sixers beating themselves when they do have these losses and are unable to reach their peak right there. So this is a step in the right direction. I'm proud of the way that the team looked tonight. This was a grown-up, mature, big boy win right there. And that's got to be the takeaway from here on out. It's continue. Look ourselves in the mirror, play our best brand of basketball, and let's see what teams can match that. Because frankly, we'll see what the answer to that is. But I don't think there's a lot in the Eastern Conference that fit that list.
Boom. 2-0 since Embiid and Paul George returned.
Yeah.
1-0 with Maxey back in the lineup as well. Great
Love
job.
it.
Let's keep it going. I look forward to watching you on Monday following the Miami Heat game. Sean Bernard, I'm Sean Brace. Thank you for everybody tuning in at Sixer Wrap-Up Show. If you catch it on the replay, retweet it. Let a Sixer fan know. We are live following every single game, and I have a feeling that we will be making our move towards radio as soon as it gets closer to playoff time with 8 games left. Hopefully it happens in the regular season, but I guarantee you this playoff game, we will be on the air. I promise you that. For Jean Bernard, I am Sean Brace. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. We'll talk to you. Peace.